we celebrate. And the fact of the matter is that the president took a diversified team to the U.S. on the invitation of Johan Rupert, but also based on the fact that he knows these people. Sometimes you talk to somebody you don't know, who knows nothing about your country, who even doesn't care. You talk to people who know him best. That's what happens. I mean, Joe Biden dealt with us here through an African who was an ambassador in our country and made claims and never withdrew those claims that we were supplying arms to Russia. We put up a commission and the president acted on that. Once more, the president have acted on this particular matter. Americans, Democrats or Republicans, have had reservations about our country, about AGOA. A story has been going on and on even under Democrats. President Trump has welcomed South Africa in a robust engagement in the White House and engaged us face to face about that our country is doing genocide and all of that. And we had a case to prove to him, not only in that press conference, but even beyond that, to reset the patterns and good working relations between us and America. Remember, there is still Capitol Hill, where there are people who believe that we are killing people here. There are people and Republicans and Democrats in the Capitol Hill who believe that South Africa is hell-bent on doing something wrong. They too must be engaged. And America is our second trading partner. And you will understand one day what Ramaphosa had to defend and what Ramaphosa as our president had to endure, and even insults from home, from politicians who don't understand some of the things that we are faced with, the pulling of the plug and many other things that could happen and hurt our economy and hurt this country and turn it into rubbles.
Have you basically bought time until the primaries should do well and his power wanes? Is this meeting about buying time, that you are not hurt as a country economically by Trump?
It didn't start with President Trump. It started a long time ago. This is significant in the evolution of events between the United States and America, that a president went to White House to explain some of the assertions that have been made. But it didn't start with President Trump. And South Africa has taken steps every time this country is being attacked by the United States. Can it be around Lady R and the Russians? Now about the genocide, which you can see where the influence comes from. So it is important that a country like ours, with responsible leadership, take steps to defend the country. Ramaphosa, as our president, did not go to the United States to defend the ANC. He went there to defend South Africa, and which is what is important.
Looking at what has transpired within this particular meeting, Mr. Mbalula, looking at the response of the president, have you spoken to him since that particular engagement with Trump? What has he said to you as the Secretary General of the party?
I've spoken to the president from the moment he briefed us that he's going to the White House. He consulted, he engaged with us as the top 7 of the ANC, and we agreed with that. Secondly, I knew that President Trump and Rupert and them were also involved in trying to engage President Trump on their own about this notion that there is a genocide in South Africa, and they were invited into the White House. Some pusillanimous people on social media challenging me saying that those people were invited by President Trump, that it is not true. And some others who are tired in thinking also, trying to say that why did President take Johan Rupert and not take Mcebisi Jonas and all of that and so on. These are people who don't understand shuttle diplomacy, who don't actually have a full appreciation of the moment we are facing. And the fact that these South Africans themselves took it upon themselves behind closed doors to engage President Trump. What you saw yesterday was a movie. But these engagements have been going on. Yuan Report doesn't need television to talk to Trump. He talks to him anytime. Gary Player doesn't need television. Any else plays golf with Trump almost weekly. Ratif Hussain is known. If I'm a president of another country and I know some girl, and then you are close to me, you will use everything else to engage. President Kosatu took business in to that meeting with President Trump, and even beyond that, to deal with issues of trade. You could see we were focused on that, but we were nearly diverted to the issue of genocide, which is falsification, and the President of the
Mr. Mbalula, the question is
out of depth in terms of it.
The question is, what were the engagements of you and the President in the past few hours, if you've had any engagements?
Oh, yes, we had engagements. I'm saying to you, you don't listen properly. I have said that President briefed us about the engagement, and then that it is about resetting the button, and then it is about also dealing with trade issues, which is a thorny issue between us and the U.S., between the U.S. government and the legislators in the U.S. And then we discussed a few minutes before that, and that everything is going very well. And I knew that it won't be something like Zelensky, given President Ramaphosa's character and stature. He would not allow matters to get out of hand to that point. He will respect President Trump because that is his terrain, and that is it. And he acted, not to the surprise of many. He was not fake. He was himself, tactician par excellence, and at the same time knowing how to deal with difficult issues. So he was, and then he briefed me about the issue that President Trump invited these South Africans also. He would like them to be part of the. What tactic was he trying to play out of that? I don't know. But we went there, not with the hand in the cap, with the cap in the hand. We went there with the hand in our heart to defend our country. And that's what actually happened yesterday. So when they played that movie, I could see you characterize it as an ambush. I think it was a mission on the part of Trump to prove this thing about the genocide, because he's been making noise about it. And even after that movie, there was nothing.
Mr. Mbalula, in the past 2 months, have you been to the United States?
I will not respond to that particular question right now. I've been to the United States of America and also engaged with some of the people in the White House, particularly about some of the perceptions that they have about our country. And that's what is important.
So in April, you were in the United States of America laying the ground for this particular engagement that took place yesterday?
No, this is the work of the president. This is the work of our government, working with everybody else. My engagement with the United States people in the White House and all of that was really about issues that related to my party and the lies that have been spread about the ANC and all of that. So I think we settle matters in that regard, because most of the things that have been said are totally untruthful. So it is important that for us to clarify those issues.
So you went to the United States in April after those personal sanctions were going to be offered to ANC leaders?
No, they can even prefer sanctions against us. We don't care about that. But the most important thing is that when there is a fallout between a country like South Africa and the United States of America, leadership must take responsibility, not the ANC only, but the leadership led by Ramaphosa. And Ramaphosa, as our president, have taken necessary steps, and he must be congratulated for that. And as the ANC, we support him in those particular actions.
Thank you very much. That was the Secretary General of the African National Congress, that they themselves are engaging with the members of Congress in the United States of America to try and rekindle those relationships that they had yesterday, particularly noting that the United States of America has said that it will slap personal sanctions against some leaders of the African National Congress. We can reveal as the SABC that indeed the ANC is engaging with members of Congress, particularly on the trajectory of the country, where the country is at, and demystifying the falsehoods and the misinformation of white genocide within the country.
Samgele Maseko, live to us there from Cape Town. For that engagement, Samgele, thanks very much indeed. So many layers to it. And often when you speak to the Secretary General of the ANC, you must have your dictionary close. Pusillanimous is a term that he threw out at some stage there.